can't have this. No, please.
Wait a minute. You call these decorations? I thought you were going to get into the office to do some Christmas decorations and stuff this week, so that we'd look. Wait a minute. Pardon? You're what? Oh, hey. Oh yeah. Happy Hanukkah. Okay. Bye. The things you don't know about people. Happy Hanukkah, by the way, to all of our Jewish citizens and viewers around Niagara. My name is Sterry, and we're heading closer and closer also to the Christmas season, as you know. Streets decorated here. A lot going on coming up to Christmas time. And speaking of which, we are going to be speaking with Santa. Santa's going to be on our show. Episode 26 of the 411 is happening tonight. It is fueled by Gale's Gas Bars. It is powered by WeeStreem. It is housed by Fiddler's Poorhouse. And we are going to be in there in just a couple of seconds, and we'll get this shindig underway. 3 fabulous guests coming up tonight. We, of course, have Santa right off the hop at the beginning of the program. We're going to have a local world champion athlete, Paralympic athlete, coming on today as well. Fabulous story. And a lot of people are flying their vehicles down to Florida. We'll be talking about that coming up as well. Stay with us. Come on. Okay. Here we are in 10th of December in the evening. Absolutely beautiful evening in Niagara. And as you have a look at the screen tonight, just up here in the top corner, you will notice that the pretty nice weather is going to continue for at least the next couple of days. Tomorrow, 9 degrees. That's pretty spectacular. And look, there's even a little bit of sun in the logo there. So welcome to episode 26. And again, thank you to Gale's WeeStreem, Nick at Niagara 411 for your collaboration. And of course, our guests coming up tonight. I want to flash something on the screen here for you right now so you can mark it on your calendar before too much more time goes by and you get filled up and you have conflicts. So, and it involves this fellow right there. I think you recognize him. That is Santa, of course. And we're going to be, not me, but we, as in WeeStream, Livestream Niagara, will be bringing you live with Santa this Sunday morning between 9 and 11. And the only thing you have to do is what you would normally do to get in touch with this program. Click on the link that will be on the post. And your little ones or big ones or all of your ones can check in, chat with Santa, and talk about what their aspirations are for December the 25th morning, Christmas Day. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And we actually have the jolly old elf himself joining us at about 10 after 7 tonight to be talking about not only the Live with Santa show on Livestream Niagara, powered by WeeStream, but also all things to do with Christmas. How the reindeer are doing, how Mrs. Claus is, how's that toy production coming? It's getting close now, and things are a little bit dicey. It's kind of tough to put a mask over that beard, but then again, chances are he won't be in front of too many people because he's in and out of the house so fast. You won't even see him. So I'm sure the mask isn't a consideration for him. But again, all these are COVID-19 Christmas questions that we don't have the answers to. So we're going to go to the big guy himself at about 10 after 7 today. So don't forget, mark it on your calendar. Just go onto your Facebook and click into Livestream Niagara or WeeStream, and you will find a link there. And you click on the link, and you'll be in our Zoom room waiting room, and our close personal friend Kevin Jack of WeeStream will get you all processed, or your children, that is. And Kevin, that's about it, right?
Yeah, it is. We're also going to be broadcasting live right here on the Niagara 411 Facebook page. It's really cool. Good. You'll never seen anything like it before. But parents, the key is Sunday morning beginning at 9 a.m. The link will be right there in the post.
Yeah.
You just click that link, and then at random, we'll be choosing children and families from across Niagara. Yeah. You can have your one-on-one virtual chat with Santa. And it's Sunday morning from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. right here on Niagara 411. We teamed up with Nick at Niagara 411 and WeeStream, and of course Santa. We're doing this absolutely free of charge just to give back to the community. We know for families, visiting Santa in person is difficult this year, so let's give them an alternative, a virtual alternative, in a way that only WeeStream can. So I think a lot of people are going to enjoy being involved, and a lot more people will enjoy just sitting back and enjoying the show.
Yeah, and I was going to mention that, but I'm glad you did, but I'm going to stress this again. It is free.
Yep.
Not trying to. Nobody is trying to take your nickels on this thing. We know nickels are hard enough to come by these days without giving them to us to have your kids talk to Santa. So that's great. Kevin and I were chatting about doing this a week and a half ago or so, and so I reached out to Santa. He said, "Sure, I'm in." And because his schedule, let's face it, his schedule is a little less intense this time of year than it normally would. He hasn't had to be on the spot in all of the parades. He's been able to do some virtual things with the parades and things. So his technology has changed, but his schedule has been, I would think, a little less hectic, maybe than other years. So he made himself available to do this with Kevin and the WeeStream gang, and we wanted to promote it and talk to him and steal some of his thunder on this show, because after all, we're not Santa-proof.
Yeah, so we got Santa coming up in 3 minutes.
Yeah, is that it? 1 minute?
Yeah, that's it. 3 minutes for Santa.
Okay. So I hope you're having a good week. I'm not sure what the highlight of your week was. Highlight, I think, as far as one of the announcements, of course, that happened since the last time we spoke, was the upcoming distribution of COVID-19 vaccines. That's been sort of the main story in any media that has been going on, and on the political front, for sure. It's almost like there are no other stories on the planet other than Christmas, and Happy Hanukkah, of course, as well, to the Jewish community, and then the COVID-19 stuff. So it's been, and also the numbers are something we're going to look at a little bit later. There are some of those that have been affected, not to put too fine a point on it, need I say, restaurants, by the increased security or lockdown of that part of our economy. And interestingly, not surprisingly for a lot of us, the numbers have not gone down. As a matter of fact, they have increased in some areas. So what really was the point? But don't want to stay too negative. Because after all, we do have the guy in the red suit coming up. Is Santa standing by with Rudolph, or is he on his own? Or
not quite yet. We're just touching base with the North Pole, and as soon as we got Santa on, Lee, we'll get him on the air with you.
Yeah, cool. All right.
But we do have some other stuff. I know I had the helicopter up there, and then we got Lonnie coming up at 8 o'clock. Lonnie's a great guy.
Lonnie Bissonette. What a story this is. Lonnie Bissonette is, and probably always will be, an extreme athlete, extreme sports athlete. And he was involved in one form of that extreme athletic endeavor in the form of base jumping, where you jump off things with a parachute. And, one time the parachute didn't do what it was supposed to do. Changed his entire life. But he is still an extreme athlete, and a more accomplished one than ever before, as a 4-time world champion bobsledder, Paralympic bobsledder. And that's just the tip of the iceberg story. So I'm not really giving you a spoiler on what's coming up, because it's a wonderful story. Kevin Jack actually was one of the, if not the first person in the media many years ago to actually have a chat with Lonnie, and brought his story back to our attention and decided, hey, let's check in and see what's up, because he's doing bigger and better than ever.
St. Catharines guy through and through.
Yeah.
You may not have heard his story, but you don't want to sleep on this guy. I guarantee you, 20 years from now, Lonnie Bissonette gets inducted into the St. Catharines Sports Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He's already a 4-time world champion in Para-Bobsled and still going.
Yeah.
He's pushing to get it included in the Paralympics.
Yeah, looking forward to talking with him. He'll be up about 8 o'clock tonight. And there is a company called Great Lakes Helicopters. Now, they're based in Kitchener-Waterloo area. They fly out of Hamilton Airport, and it's been in the news a lot lately because, as you know, you might be one of them, Canadian snowbirds are having a much more adjusted winter than they normally have. Some are staying here for the entire winter and not going down south at all. Some are going down but not going down for as long. And of course you have to fly. You can't drive across the border as a citizen from one spot to another and come back because the borders are still closed. So Great Lakes Helicopters came up with this idea, this plan, that they would assist snowbirds in getting their vehicles down to Florida or wherever it is that they want to go. And they came up with a plan to help snowbirds that still want to go but can't drive across the border to get there. And we're going to be talking with Dwayne Henderson. He's the General Motors, listen to me. Where did that come from? General Manager, General Motors. That's good. Freudian slip. When in St. Catharines. The General Manager of Great Lakes Helicopters, and Dwayne will be joining us somewhere around 7:30 tonight. And if you have any questions for them, by all means let us know. And that leads me to this. You can participate in this program. We do have guests. You don't have to be pre-scheduled to be here. So when we have an open moment, by all means, just give us a holler. Go to the link that is on the post that you're having a look at right now as we do this live stream, either on Livestream Niagara, Niagara 411, or WeeStream, and click on the link. That will take you into our Zoom room like waiting room, and Kevin will get you prepped and ready to go, and you and I can have a chat about whatever is on your mind. We will change the theme to suit you in the moment. If there's something that's happened to you over the week, or there's a story of someone or something around Niagara that you think we should know, by all means, get in touch with us and let us know. If you have a question for Santa, come on, that's cool too.
And speaking
but
of...
again, don't forget, Live with Santa, Sunday morning, 9 until 11, right here. Okay?
And we've made contact with the North Pole. We know internet up there sometimes is a little spotty, but we got Santa. So without further ado, Lee.
All right. This is exciting. And hey, Santa.
Hello!
You can hear us. We can hear you. That's great.
Yes, I'm so happy to be a part of your show, Lee.
Well, it's wonderful, wonderful to have you here, Santa. Now, what is this lovely backdrop that you have here?
Oh, I'm in the den.
The den.
The den, yes, and this is where I look over all my work and you know, the naughty, the nice lists and all that type of thing. So this is where I do all my homework, if you will.
Okay. So what is the weather like in the North Pole? Because it's been pretty warm here in Niagara.
Oh, it's cold.
Yeah.
Now, compared to last year, it was warm up here. But this year, we're experiencing bitter cold.
Now, everybody has been dealing with this pandemic that's all over the world. This must have caused you some concern as Santa Claus this year.
You would not believe it, Lee. It has caused chaos here in the North Pole, but we've got it all worked out. We believe it. Christmas Eve, everything is going to run smoothly, and that all the presents will be delivered as they should be on time.
So your schedule is intact?
Yes, definitely intact. It took some working, and Mrs. Claus needed to be involved. He does better scheduling than I do. But having said that, we're ready to go.
Now, with all of the elves making the toys and all the gifts for the boys and girls around the world, you must have gone through an awful lot of teeny-weeny masks over the last month. Yeah.
We had to have them, but we actually had to. Now, you're going to be a little surprised by this, but we had to order them in from Ontario.
Really?
Yes, we have a little manufacturer in Ontario who makes the elf masks, and they're located, I can't give away the location, the address, of course, but they're located in the Niagara region.
Oh, well, isn't that wonderful? Now, Santa, We were talking, Kevin and I were talking about this a little bit earlier, wondering how this affected your schedule. Now, normally you'd be flying or sledding all over the place to Christmas parades everywhere and shopping malls everywhere. And I know that you were out at a few, but your schedule must have been really different this year.
It is true. It has been reduced. I have not been in attendance at all the galas and all the events that I normally go to. You're right. But let me say that with the power of the internet, I can now visit you just as I normally would. It's just screen to screen, as we know. So that's what I've been doing. I've been just checking in online.
Oh, that's great. You know, even technology even makes it to the North Pole, doesn't it?
Oh, yes, and as you said, it's a little spotty, but we generally get through when we need to. And at the very least, we've got the old crystal ball that we can dust off and look in on children and look in on yourself, seeing if you're being naughty or nice.
Oh, I've been good.
I know you have.
Yeah.
Ho, 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 ho.
I don't know what you mean by that laugh, Santa. I don't know how to take that.
Oh no, it's a positive. It's purely positive.
Okay.
You have been such a good boy this year.
Okay.
And we really have something nice set out for you as a gift for being such a good boy.
Now, do you still do the cookies and milk thing even this year? Because, you know, things are...
Yeah. Not really. It's going to be not really a lot, and that's to my detriment. I, of course, enjoy the cookies and milk, but you're going to see a more slender, athletic-looking Santa.
Okay.
And because I won't be consuming so many calories.
Okay, all right. You might take a nibble here and there. I bet you do.
Well, that's our secret. Yes, that's our secret.
Okay. So I want to thank you, Santa, for on behalf of all the children here in and around Niagara that might not have had a chance to see you yet this season, for agreeing to do our Live with Santa show this Sunday. We're really looking forward to it.
I am as well. And listen, there's going to be a lot of phone calls, I'm sure, a lot of requests for different gifts, and bring it on, because I'll be ready and waiting to take your calls in person.
Okay. Now, is there anything in particular that you want the children to come prepared with? Obviously, their list of things that they would really, really love you to bring them on Christmas Day. Do you want them to come armed with their own questions for you, or how?
Oh, sure they can. Listen, we're going to have limited time because there are going to be a lot of calls, I'm sure. But come armed either with your list, if you haven't sent it already, and you can ask a question if you like. Anything about the North Pole or about what I do, anything at all. That's not a problem.
I know one of the things that I always was interested in, and still am actually to this day, is how are your reindeer doing?
Well, they're doing really well. I was just out actually with somebody you know. I have an elf that you know really well by the name of Dave Benison. And we were out working the reindeer all over Niagara today.
All right.
Visiting him on my different friends and this sort of thing. But the reindeer need a good workout. And from the North Pole to Niagara, wow, that's a distance. And they really love to work those legs and get in shape for the big night.
Well, we're looking forward to the big night, of course. Want to make sure that you and Mrs. Claus and the reindeer and everybody stays safe. Now, I know you'll be in and out of these houses so fast, it isn't likely you'll need to wear a mask. If you did, you'd probably have to have a king-size mask over that beard.
Oh, yeah. That's a good good one. You got me,
Yeah.
Lee. You got me. But you're so right. The mask would need to cover the essential parts, of my face. And absolutely. But no, I'll be in and out so fast they won't even know it.
All right. Well, Santa, we do really appreciate your time as always. It's been a strange year for the North Pole and for you and the elves and everybody, just like it has been for us. But we are at least really, really pleased that some things never change, and you're one of them. And it's so wonderful to have you with us. And we look forward to Live with Santa Sunday morning here on WeeStream, Niagara 411, live stream Niagara. 9 to 11 o'clock our time. Make sure it's not your time. It's 9 to 11 o'clock our time. We need you to be here.
Absolutely. You can count on me. And I look forward to talking with everyone in Niagara. And from wherever else your listening audience is, I look forward to talking with them too. And listen, if there's one thing that can be consistent during a pandemic, it can be Santa. And I'm Old Faithful. That's why they call me Old Faithful.
Well, you haven't let us down yet, Santa, and I don't expect you ever will. You have a wonderful evening, and get your rest because you're going to need it. And we'll see you Sunday.
I look forward to it.
Okay.
And Merry Christmas until then.
And Merry
we'll
Christmas
see
to
you Sunday morning. And just as a final thought, Lee, if I can.
Sure.
For those that don't get through on Sunday, no problem. We'll have an alternate way you can get a hold of me through my sites that you can book later on after Sunday if you don't get through on Sunday. So don't worry, I'm here for you. Zoom away.
Okay. Santa Claus, direct from the North Pole, and we're looking forward to that on Sunday. You have a good night, Santa. Thanks for calling in.
Thanks, Lee. Bye-bye now.
Bye. All right. I've always been a fan. Boy, oh boy. From the time I knew anything about anything that was going on, that has been one of my favorite characters ever. I was going to say favorite people, and he's not really a people. He's an elf. He's a magician. He's a magic Santa to me, and always has been. Still working his magic, Kevin.
I can't believe that, Lee. We just had Santa.
I know.
Santa just came on the program.
I never thought that I would be in a situation ever in my life that I could talk with celebrities like that.
I mean, even Santa's embraced technology. It's fantastic. Yeah. So Sunday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And all you got to do, families, is get yourself, logged into Zoom there. And the link will be there. It's absolutely free. Yep. We're going to select people at random, and we'll try and get as many people as we can in that 2-hour window to have their one-on-one with Santa. And trust me, the broadcast will blow you away when you see what we do with technology.
And even if you have little ones that are a little bit hesitant, sometimes it's tough for little ones to feel comfortable with Santa. I know I went to visit him in his village many years ago, and I was just like a little guy, and I was kind of scared of him because he's kind of an imposing character for a little person. And it took me a while, but I warmed up to him pretty fast. So he'll be really, really good with everybody that comes on. There's no reason for anybody to be nervous. So all you need is your computer and so that you can see the screen, and a microphone so that we can talk back and like in the computer that you can talk back.
Yeah, a cell phone, with. Laptop, tablet, anything.
Yeah,
you're good to go.
And that'll be just.
It's going to be so much fun.
Awesome. Yeah. And I want to thank you, Kevin, and WeeStream as well for doing this, because nobody is sponsoring this. It's entirely free. Nobody's making any money from it, because that's what we talked about, and that's what Kevin's given up his Sunday morning for. And it's not really giving up. It's just time well spent. I know.
You know what, Lee? If I could expand on that for a second. Yeah. I believe as a business owner that a part of every business's success plan is giving back to the community. And I'll be the first to admit that while WeeStream is successful, we're not at the level yet where we can start writing checks to all the organizations that we want to help.
Sure.
So I can't just take $5,000, $10,000 and give it to community care as much as I would love to.
Yeah.
What we can do is we can give back to the community in other ways. We did that during COVID when we started this whole live stream Niagara thing. What can we do over the holidays? Again, I can't just write a big check. But you know what? I can talk to Santa, I can use my time, and we can use WeeStream technology, and we can give back to the community that way. So that's what we've decided to do, and I hope people appreciate it.
And it's wonderful that you are doing that. And
Thanks,
while
Lee.
we're talking about giving back and community efforts, I'll take this chance to once again thank Gales Gas Bars Limited for fueling this program, helping us to be able to do what we do and give back when we can. So it's a thrill to be able to have them continue to support the program. Also to WeeStream, of course, the technology which we've talked about. Nick at Niagara 411, along with all of you who are contributors to the news threads that happen on Niagara 411. Thank you. And we would be remiss, of course, if we didn't thank Dave Mukparian and his great staff here at Fiddler's Poorhouse at 149 St. Paul Street in St. Catharines for allowing us to hang out in their window every night at every Thursday night at 7 o'clock. So it's super to have them part of this program as well. So thank you, everybody, for your support. Now we're going to be heading into next week. We'll have our show. We'll have our show on the 17th. Then we're heading into that season where everybody just wants to hang out and relax with peace and goodwill toward men, be it virtually or otherwise, because the next Thursday, of course, is Christmas Eve, the 24th. The Thursday after that is New Year's Eve, the 31st. Those two Thursday nights, we will not be broadcasting this program, but we will be back in the new year with what we're planning on is this. I sound like I'm doing a laundry detergent commercial now. New and improved 411 program. Still with our partners that we have now. We'll see what we can do about expanding what we do, making it even more relevant for everybody here in Niagara. And nothing up my sleeve. We're not going to be spoilers or anything at this point, but please join us after next week for the first Thursday of the new year, and we'll have the 411 back with bells on, as they say. Well, by then we might have the bells off, but we will be here in 2000 and what the heck, 21. I hope we're here with masks off, but I'm not so sure that's going to happen. But it will be interesting to see how the vaccines roll out, how the plan is going, how it is going to go, how many people are going to get vaccinated, how quickly, and in what order. I cannot imagine trying to be the people that are trying to put those logistics together, because it's going to be something that will be probably one of the most difficult tasks organizations and governments, be they provincial or federal, have had in a long, long time. And there was news came out today, by the way, that the federal government did say that they would be paying for the province's support systems, etc., delivery mechanisms and things that they needed to get that rollout done. So the provinces and some of the major cities are taking a big sigh of relief right now. And I know that Premier Ford said at one point in time, as far as our province of Ontario is concerned, that they were trying to put together some contingency funds in case they needed to start paying the freight for that. But the announcement by the federal government today will certainly help coalesce that argument and make some people literally breathe a little easier. Okay.
Lee, while you're just on that, and this was something in the news that made me smile. I don't know about you, but here, maybe I've got the wrong thing up here. Here we go. Takeout booze is now going to be a permanent thing in Ontario. So I don't know how many people have actually jumped on this. I've actually done it a couple of times here at Fiddler's, where you can now buy alcohol and take it home with you. Yeah. Your family, you've got extended family in British Columbia. This has been commonplace in British Columbia for some time now.
It has been. And actually, we had this, my wife and I had this conversation with a restaurant proprietor last week. And I asked that question, if this was something with all of the takeouts and curbside pickups and all of these other things, if you are dining in as a couple, same household and all this, if you are dining in and you order a bottle of wine and you don't drink it all, can you take it home? Because I'm used to being able to do that. They have to recork it, is usually how it goes, so that it's almost like it was originally corked. You just throw a piece of foil over it and walk out the door. But there was some confusion actually at this particular establishment because they weren't sure. And I said, I think you can now. And then here we are. Right, and this was published back on October 7th. So it's been this way for a couple of months, right?
Oh, sorry. You know what? They just announced yesterday afternoon that it was going to be. I'm surprised to see the date on that, but you're absolutely right. But I think it was just late yesterday afternoon that they announced it will continue to become permanent. But you're right. Maybe it's been there for some time, judging by the date on this story.
Yeah, I think it has actually been law or permitted for a while, but it's not generally known. It's not. So takeout booze will be made permanent as part of Ford government plan to help struggling small businesses. One of the other things, too, where it's not too often that you see places like the LCBO and the Brewers Retail or the beer store pull their horns in on a plan. But they had a plan with, was it Skip the Dishes? Or they'd made a deal that they were going to be able to work with them to deliver their products to your home. And that is one of the areas that the restaurateurs have been able to keep as a fairly decent profit center, is selling their alcoholic products and having them delivered. And of course they make money from that. And there was such a hue and cry from small businesses in the various communities around Ontario that both the beer store as well as the LCBO sort of backed away from it and said, okay, we're not going to go that route. We've decided to retool our plans and not do that. So that's just a couple of the interesting things around COVID that will continue to unfold. And as we mentioned earlier, Ontario set today, over 1,900, by the way, set today another daily record. Sure. So, of COVID infections. Now, one of the other things, too, they always try to put a caveat on it saying, well, they tested more. They tested something like 61,000 people today in the province as well. Those numbers are usually relative to one another. Okay?
Here, I'll pull up the numbers here as they're relevant to Niagara, Lee. Not sure if you wanted to get onto that right away. Scroll them up here for you.
Okay.
Oh, got to get to this is the first page. Usually the only thing that's interesting here is the total number of active cases.
Yeah. 247 of those. Total number of resolved cases. Thank you. Total number of deaths, 87. And active outbreaks, 14.
There's 4 pages of stats, some interesting, some not so much. There's a lot of stuff to dive into there if people are interested in digging into the current COVID situation in Niagara. It's generally the last page here that shows you today's numbers, yesterday's numbers, growth, things like that.
So 40%, almost 40% of the cases came from being relative to an outbreak, meaning a group in the same location, be it a business, be it a long-term care facility, whatever. New cases on December the 9th, yesterday, 20. That's kind of been the average, I think, in Niagara for quite some time. It's been down as low as 10 or 11 at one point in time, but this late fall surge has bumped that up. Growth rate less than 1%. Still not a deal breaker. New cases today, though, 36. That was a big bump up from yesterday. And this is where people are starting. I say people, I shouldn't generalize like that. They are people, but they're more small business people as well as some frustrated customers as well. In all of the areas, there were more strict regulations or rules put in place specifically for small eateries, that you couldn't dine with someone not in your household. Maximum of 6 people had to be from your household. The restaurants, again, have suffered because of this. The numbers have been down as far as customers and income is concerned. And yet the numbers of COVID cases and the rate of increase in some of these areas has not altered. So those cases that are being discovered, are being tested as positive, are, if you do the math, they're not really coming from restaurants. They're coming from other gatherings that are done outside common sense, and or these outbreaks that we were talking about before that happen in certain locations, facilities and or homes or businesses, and that's causing a lot of people some head scratching and head banging, as a matter of fact, when they can't operate their businesses. And it's not proven that that's where the infections are coming from. We are looking toward the vaccines as the holy grail. I don't think it's going to be soon that we're, as they say, through this. This is certainly a really nice beginning. I remember one of the finest quotes from Premier Winston Churchill during World War II was, "We may have not reached the beginning of the end, but we have reached the end of the beginning." And I kind of get a feeling that that's where we are. We are not at the beginning of the end, we are at the end of the beginning, because this thing is just starting as far as addressing the healthcare concerns and needs. My opinion. That's how I see it.
We'll say, Lee, that the vaccine kind of snuck up on us real fast. We were talking a lot about vaccine back at the beginning. You know, March, April, May was a lot vaccine. It went away just as I kind of said, boy, I haven't heard much talk about the vaccine. Next day it was, not only are we working on the vaccine, but it'll be here next week type thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know whether it's true or not. They're testing in the UK. I've seen some reports that there were side effects.
Yeah.
You know what? It sucks nowadays because you honestly don't know what to believe in the news.
And the numbers of vaccines, there was a number tossed around that we were going to be getting something like 30,000 doses. Now, is that, and I was a little unclear on whether that was, that was Ontario. I was a little unclear whether that was 30,000 doses or enough doses for 30,000 people. I'm assuming it was doses. But again, we're going to have to be really, really careful. And this is where the internet can get bogged down. We're going to have to be really, really careful about dealing with misinformation. Because you know as well as I do, there are going to be a lot of numbers tossed around, be it in news conferences, be it on posts, be it on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, that we're going to have to make sure that we check and stay up to date officially with what's going on, because there will be a lot of confusion. I think there will be. But that's only natural, really, when you've got something this big. It's like trying to herd cats, and we know that's not easy. So, one of the other things that happened this week, now we are awaiting a telephone call.
Yeah, I think the lines got crossed here on Dwayne, so maybe we'll try and catch up with him next week. Dwayne runs Great Lakes Helicopters.
Yeah.
Pretty interestingly, did you check out the website? I'll throw the website up here for people to see what they're doing. Niagara 411 reported on it because people were saying that there's this helicopter that just keeps flying over Niagara on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So we caught up with the guy, or you did more specifically, Lee, to find out about his business. It's headquartered in Cambridge, but they're doing shuttle runs now between Hamilton Airport and Buffalo Airport.
Yeah.
So I'll let you take it from there, Lee, and I'll pull up the website here.
So, did we get our date wires crossed? Is that what happened?
I think so, yeah. Just got our lines crossed on that, so we'll see if we can have Dwayne on the show next week.
That might be my fault, unfortunately. I'll take the blame.
I wasn't looking to attach blame anywhere, Lee.
No, you're pointing. I can see you pointing.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so the concept here, I'm looking at their website right now. The concept here is they are offering these flights departing from Hamilton, as we mentioned, to the Buffalo International Airport, partnering with a transportation company called GRM, who will transport your vehicle across the border via a car trailer. Because, see, they would be a necessary traveler. If they have business from one side of the border to another, they're allowed to cross the border. And you and your vehicle would be reunited at the Buffalo Airport. So this company that can transport your vehicles will transport the vehicle from wherever you are to the Buffalo Airport. Well, actually, from the Hamilton Airport, you'll drive your vehicle there. I assume that's how it works. We'll find out from Dwayne when we do talk to him. And then as far as the people are concerned, the helicopters are the people movers. All right? So now the helicopter flight is $1,200 plus tax, and this is where it gets economical, because that's not per person or per couple or whatever. That's just however many they can fit into the helicopter.
Right, and they say right before there, Lee, that it's 3. So that's the maximum that they can take in the helicopter is 3 in addition to the
Okay,
pilot.
I didn't see that earlier. So
it's right here. Limitations. Helicopter has seating for 3 passengers.
But they do 5 flights a day.
I know. It's crazy. So that's why we see it going over Niagara so
there's the
often.
limitations. 3 passengers, weight capacity 530 pounds. Okay. Pets, luggage. They'll take your pets. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So this is, as they say, it's an ill wind that blows no good. Out of every dark story or dark situation that develops, there's somebody that's able to make light out of it. And Great Lakes Helicopters has done that by finding a new profit center for them, and that's reuniting people with their vehicles so that they can. Now, whether it's wise for people to do this and travel through the United States with the state of things, we can't judge that. That's up to you. But all the legalities are being covered here. There's nothing untoward happening here. All the rules are being followed, and I just thought it would have been really interesting to talk with them, and we will talk with them before Christmas, because I'm sure there will be some other snowbirds that are getting ready to go down there too.
Now, what do you think, Lee? $1,900 plus tax. Worth it? I think to some people it would be.
For some people it would be, but then again, you also have the trip to drive down there and the gasoline like you would always have. And a lot of people have said, well, what if you just go down and rent a car or buy a cheap car to drive? I don't know, but there's insurances and all these other things that come into play when you're doing that. So I just think this has been a really creative way to address a situation that I don't know that anybody's ever thought of doing anything like this before. But as they say, necessity being the mother of invention. You don't even know you need the service until you need it.
So my parents, Lee, my dad is 80, my mom is 79.
Yeah.
They routinely go to Florida as snowbirds, so they do their 2-3 month stint from January through kind of middle of March. They're not going this year. I was talking to them today and asked whether or not they were considering it. They're not. I don't know that it would be open to criticism. If you're in that age bracket and that's what you routinely do just to escape the winters, honestly, I think you can isolate and protect yourself just as easily in any of the United States as you could in Canada. Now, you are rolling the dice a little bit. Could you get insurance? I'm not sure if you could get insurance. What happens if you get sick? If you do fall ill with COVID symptoms in the United States? That
would be, I think, my major concern, is their hospitals are under such stress in the United States. Getting sick down there might be very, very traumatic. So it wouldn't be me doing it, but then again, I don't have my own place down there. I know people that do, and they're concerned about their property, and they're not going down maybe as they would, like for 3 or 4 months at a time, but they're going down to look after their property for a couple of weeks, maybe, or 3 weeks. And those folks have a very clear need. They want to go and make sure that their property is being looked after, and everything's okay. But as far as the casual traveler is concerned, like I'm gonna hop in the car and go to Coco, I don't think so.
I think everybody's so quick to criticize these days on everybody else's decisions. I look at it and go, you know what? Dwayne and his company, Great Lake Helicopters, they're offering a service that I think would be valuable to some people.
Absolutely.
They're taking all of the risks into consideration. And again,
Yeah.
I don't see any reason why you can't live a safe, COVID-protected life in the United States, the same as you could live in Canada.
Yeah.
You can still get groceries delivered to wherever you're living.
Yeah.
You can still stay there. The only thing is, when you open the door to your patio, it might be 80 degrees out instead of covered with snow.
Well, and that's and that really is the thing. And I think this is a great service for people that do have their own property down there that they can be sure is secure and they can isolate in and those kinds of things. And that those seem to be the people that are definitely making the extra effort to get to where they want to be. And something else. Thinking about what are benchmark stories of the week, and this was one of the topics that came up on social media that probably received the most activity, the most responses, probably the higher number of memories being passed along was this week was the 40th anniversary of the assassination and death of John Lennon. And if there was one, there were 1,000,001 posts about that age-old question that you ask when these celebrities or very, very famous and loved people depart on an untimely basis is, where were you when? And there are very few people that fall into that category. John Lennon, of course, one of those. Where were you when? Everybody remembers where they were when. John F. Kennedy was another one that garners that kind of response. Where were you when? And they're very, very personal. They're very, very emotional experiences that people are a part of, because these people were a part of our lives in a big, big way, and we were in another way part of their lives. Ontario played a big, big part in the lives of John Lennon and Yoko Ono in particular. You remember the bed-in that was in Montreal. John and Yoko stayed on a farm here in Ontario. I don't know if a lot of people are still aware of this or not, but they stayed with Ronnie Hawkins for quite some time to stay out of sight when people were trying to nip at their heels and making a big deal out of them being around. So they were Ronnie's house guests for quite some time. And of course, Ronnie Hawkins is a Canadian country music icon. And but that's just one of the sidebar stories. And it happened actually on a night. It was a Monday night, which meant that Monday Night Football was on the air. Look at you, Kevin. Do you remember? Yeah, you didn't even know I was going to say that, and there it is, showing up on the screen.
Do you want to hear Howard Cosell?
Yeah, let's hear Howard Cosell.
I'll finish this. They're in the hurry-up offense.
3rd down 4. Foreman. It'll be 4th down. Kavanaugh will let it run down for one final attempt. He'll let the seconds tick off to give Miami no opportunity whatsoever. Timeout is called. 3 seconds remaining. John Smith is on the line, and I don't care what's on the line, Howard. You have got to say what we know in the booth.
Yes, we have to say it. Remember, this is just a football game, no matter who wins or loses. An unspeakable tragedy confirmed to us by ABC News in New York City. John Lennon, outside of his apartment building on the west side of New York City, the most famous perhaps of all of the Beatles, shot twice in the back, rushed to Roosevelt Hospital, dead on arrival. Hard to go back to the game after that news flash, which in duty bound we had to take. Frank?
Indeed it is. 3 seconds remain. John Smith off the hands of Rose, the tight end.
That was, of course, Howard Cosell, one of the staples of that program. for years and years and years and years. Monday Night Football. A lot of people were watching that. I was not. I was sitting in my rec room with my wife, having a cup of coffee and watching another television show. And to this day, I can't remember which show that was. But I remember that picture flashing on the screen, and then, of course, all else stopped as the news coverage and the news anchors. At that time, all three major networks, the CNNs of the world didn't exist really at that time, but all three major networks broke away for special coverage when that happened. And you can imagine, if you weren't there, you can imagine what the chaos in the reporting would have been on a day like that. Yeah, so there are a few of those people. John Lennon, John F. Kennedy, Elvis Presley, Martin Luther King, Bobby Kennedy, and a few others probably that you can remember where you were when. And those things remain indelibly etched on our memories.
For my demographically, like, hey? I was 3 years old when John Lennon was assassinated there in New York City. My life has not included a lot of singular deaths of significance that I can think of like that. Right. Assassinations or murders. 9/11 stands out as a landmark or a watermark. Everybody knows where they were and when.
That's a big one. Yeah.
Outside of that, as far as those monumental marks in time, I don't know that. And thankfully so. Are we just not marking them the same? Like Kurt Cobain, I mean, I guess that was a big one, but I don't put him in the same category and his passing in the same category.
You're right, it is demographic specific. The first walk on the moon, that's another one.
1969?
Yeah.
So
I was 15, 14. Yeah. I was 9 when John F. Kennedy was assassinated.
Yep.
And I remember that I lived within walking distance of my school, and my parents, who almost are like my dad in particular. My mom was home at that time, but because she was a stay-at-home mom for a while, she worked at that period. She was a stay-at-home mom, but they both picked me up from school in the car. And what's going on here? And that's how impactful that it was for people, that parents of a 9-year-old felt that they needed to get this kid and explain to him what was going on, because it was that important for them, that big a deal for them. And I remember walking out of the school and that's where I was when the word came down.
Yeah, for me, 9/11 is the only one that stands out like that, where there was world shock, where everything stopped and people didn't know what the next 5 minutes had in store. And I would think that's what your parents were thinking back when John F. Kennedy, what the world was thinking, oh my gosh, this beloved president of the United States, we're in the midst of a Cold War, has just been assassinated. What's next? Where is the next bomb going to land? And that was the feeling around 9/11, is what is next?
The world was thrown into turmoil because everybody thought that we were living in Camelot. As a matter of fact, that's what they called Washington, D.C. during Kennedy's reign, was everybody thinks it's Camelot. In other words, it's a fairy tale world. We've got King Kennedy on the throne. Everybody's happy. Well, obviously, that was a bit of an exaggeration on the facts. What episodes do you remember? And I'm throwing this out to people that might want to check in with us and point out either an event or a person that they remember where they were when, that would like to tell that story. That would be interesting to hear. Just if you want to come in and have a chat, just by all means do so. Click on the link on the feed, and we'll get you on here. There was what was the other one I was trying to think of that was massive, and it just escaped my head, which reminds me, I saw a meme on Facebook today, and it was something to the effect of, why can I remember my favorite song from when I was 20 and I can't remember why I came into the kitchen?
That's pretty much all of us, Lee.
I know. It's strange how that happens. Kevin, let me come back to children for a minute. We were talking about Santa, and there's still debate with regard to how the school year is going to flesh out. How are things going with you're of course one of my go-to people when it comes to children in school because I don't have any. Yeah. So what's, as a parent, what's rolling around in your head right now?
Not a whole lot, just kind of waiting to see what school boards, what the province decides. It sounds like the province is going to go just kind of with status quo with the regular calendar. I did see a stat today flashed on TV that indicated that 4 out of 5 schools, this is across Ontario on average, 4 out of 5 schools have been unaffected, basically saying that there have been no positive COVIDs in 4 out of 5 schools, and 99.9% of students have not contracted COVID. So, teachers, put that in your pipe and smoke it. Or I guess, the teachers union. And I'm not a big teachers union person. I don't really think they represent the teachers. I think they represent the union, if that makes sense. And
I don't disagree with you.
Gosh, I mean, they spent a lot of money and wasted a lot of money that could have gone to better things before the school year began. Just touting of the doom and gloom and what's going to happen if we reopen the schools and everybody's going to be unsafe. And here we are at Christmas, and it just has not played out that way. It simply has not played out that way. Now, you could get somebody on the other side of the debate that says, well, look, numbers have gone up, deaths have risen, and maybe we can trace all of that back to the schools. Maybe not a direct, a linkage of contracting it itself, but maybe it's all because everybody's intermingling in schools. Well, but that's where I stand. I'm happy that they went back to school. I think it was necessary for their mental health. It was definitely necessary for the economy, for my mental health, my stability, my chance to operate a business. It was 100% necessary. So I'm very happy. That said, my children go to a very small school where I think attendance this year is probably under 100 students.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're walking into a high school with 1,500 kids there. It's and it's a little more manageable when you have that numbers under 100 like that.
Yeah. So, to go to your point, I have friends. I also have family members that are or were teachers, and I have and I know they take a bashing a lot from a lot of sectors, and I'm far from being one of the teacher bashers. I think they do a fabulous job and do good things, and I do honestly believe that probably 99% of the time their hearts are in the right place. But I have told them face to face, I don't feel, my opinion is, I don't feel that they're represented properly.
No, I would agree with that.
Other than that, I guess I don't have a right to make an opinion because it's not my world. But it's been an interesting ride, and that interesting ride is going to continue. As you will see, we are getting closer to 8 o'clock, and this gentleman that is in the top left corner of your screen is set to join us. His name is Lonnie Bissonette, and that name might not mean a whole lot to you right now, but I can assure you that it will. This man is currently a 4-time world champion bobsledder, but that's just the tip of the iceberg of this story. Lonnie, welcome to the program. Glad to have you on here tonight.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
And I know that Kevin Jack, our executive producer here, was probably the first media person to reach out to you years ago to have a chat with you. And so we were chatting today, and we thought we'd have a do-over and catch up.
Oh, yeah. Great.
So tell us your story from the beginning. You're a pretty extreme guy when it comes to sporting activities and athletics, and I'd really like to hear the story from the beginning from your lips. So if you don't mind, could you start us from the beginning?
Yeah. It's my mom always said that I was a bit of a wild child, even at an early age. Shortly after I started walking, she said I was climbing everything. I was climbing the cupboards, climbing on top of the fridge, and climbing to the tree to the highest spots, and always freaking her out. And that sort of stuff just continued on my whole life. I was always attracted to things that were exciting. I never did any of the sports like hockey and baseball and any of that stuff. And then in 1990, I started skydiving. So that took a big change in my life. It was like something I had finally found that I'd been searching for myself personally, because as a lot of people, I'd always dreamed, as a kid, I'd always dreamed of flying, you know, to have vivid dreams of flying around like Superman, like floating. And when I stepped out of that airplane for the very first time, I thought, this is exactly what, you know, I'd been dreaming of my whole life. So, you know, I immediately fell in love with the sport.
And then what?
Hold on. If I'm going to interject here, one thing we kind of left out is, Lonnie, you're St. Catharines, born and bred. When you talk about climbing these trees and all this stuff, it's right here in the Garden City, and you still live here. I mean, you're a 4-time world champion, and you're a St. Catharines guy.
Absolutely, yeah. You know, I was born and raised here in St. Catharines, and I moved around after as an adult. I moved around. I lived in Toronto for a little bit. I lived out west, but I came back home, and I lived in St. Catharines for 30-something years since the last time I moved away. So, and you know, I love this. I love the Niagara region. I love everything about it. It's where I made my business, and you know, I don't think I would ever leave here. It's great.
So you were base jumping, correct? When an accident happened that changed your life.
Yeah.
What is base jumping?
Okay. Yeah. Well, after skydiving, then the natural path for me was to then take up base jumping. And base jumping is like skydiving. You jump with a parachute, but you actually jump from fixed objects instead of out of an airplane. So BASE is an acronym, stands for building, antenna, span, and earth. Those are the 4 objects that we jump out of, or jump off of, rather, sorry. And then in 2004, I was down in the States doing a jumping vacation with some friends down there. And I was logging my jumps that morning, and you know, I said to the guys, I realized I was about to do my 1100th base jump. So I said, hey, you know, 1100, we got to do something cool to remember it by, because of course, you know, at that time I had almost 2,000 skydives, 1,100 base jumps.
Wow.
Jumps sort of run together, and some jumps, you know, you just don't remember. So I wanted this one to be special and something I remember. And I sure did that.
Yeah. So what did you call special? Was it where you jumped from?
Well, special would either be where you jumped from, or a certain jump that stood out in my mind, whether it be from a special place. We've got lots of those. I jumped off Angel Falls, the tallest waterfalls in the world. Jumped off the tallest dam in the world. You know, I've been to China. I've been all over the place. But you know, certain jumps, just remember, they stand out in your mind. So I thought, I want to make this 100th one that would stand out in my mind. So we had enough Canadians there that we could set a new Canadian record simultaneously, everybody jumping off of the object at the same time. And I was organizing the jump, and at the same time I was going to do a quadruple outward facing, inward flipping backflip kind of.
Okay.
And I kind of rushed. I rushed everything. You know, it's 100% my fault. As soon as I left the jump and started doing my flips, I knew right away I was flipping too slow. And had I been jumping alone, I would have said, oh, you know, you're going too slow for 4, so just do 2 jumps or 2 flips and open up to that. But the problem was the dive was designed that everybody was going to open in different sections closer together, like a big V in the U-swing.
Right.
And I would be the single guy at the very bottom, so immediately my brain went to, I can't open early on this jump because I'm going to entangle with the other guys. I have to finish all 4 flips. And as I was getting low, each flip I could see myself getting lower and lower.
Wow.
I rushed the deployment, and my legs hadn't quite finished that last rotation. So the parachute came out, wrapped around my foot, and hung me upside down. And basically, I hit. Luckily it was a river, not the ground, or I wouldn't be here. But we figured I hit the river doing about 130 kilometers an hour, and broke my neck in several places, broke my back in several places. Shoulder, ribs, shattered my femur, collapsed my lungs, and I suffered a spinal cord injury at the same time.
Unbelievable. And of course, this is what has left you without the use of your lower body, correct?
Correct. Actually, I'm technically, although I can move my arms now, initially I couldn't move them, so I'm technically classified as a quadriplegic. I have some sensation, but yeah, that was the injury that led me to the para-bobsleds, the sport of para-bobsledding.
And still, you kept, in spite of that tragedy, you kept your wild child demeanor, your love of the extreme, and so how did you find bobsledding?
Bobsledding, the first time I went down the track, I absolutely fell in love with it. It was everything that attracts me and everything that speaks to me for, a passion and things to do. It had the high speed, high adrenaline, the need to be able to focus and not let that adrenaline and that bit of fear that you have to control you, but to use that to control that. And the funny thing is I said to my coaches when I started competing for Canada that I felt like I had an unfair advantage against these other competitors because all of the tools that I had acquired through skydiving and base jumping, they were the same tools you use in bobsled, except I just needed to apply them in a slightly different way. So I told the coaches, I've basically been training for this for the last 25 years. So I feel like I have an unfair advantage to these guys,
Isn't that something? Now, did somebody come to you about trying this sport out, or did you sort of source it out yourself?
Lucky enough for me, I had never even considered the sport of bobsled. I was part of the Rick Hansen relay that went across Canada for the 25th anniversary. And I was one of the medal bearers here at St. Catharines, and then later on they asked me to become an endurance athlete. So the endurance athlete would go long distances between cities. I was doing anywhere up to 50 kilometers a day going through the prairies in the middle of the winter. Wow. I spent 34 days on the relay. And on my last day of the relay, we were in Calgary, and one of the city medal bearers that would carry the medal there, they had a bus for them because, of course, it was freezing in Calgary in February, and they were playing some of my base jumping videos in the bus as they dropped people off. So one of the medal bearers was Canada's very first female Olympic bobsledder. So when she saw that, she came up to me and said, "Hey, I was watching your videos. Have you ever thought about bobsled?" And I was like, no. And she said, "Would you like to try?" I was like, "Hell yeah, I would love that." So,
and you've been representing Canada since on these world events since when?
I've been representing Canada internationally now for 6 years. This is my 7th year. On the International Bobsled Skeleton Federation World Cup Series.
And out of that 6 to 7 years, you've won the World Championship 4 times.
Yeah, out of the six official World Cup series that we've had, I've won it 4 times, and I've come in 3rd place twice. The World Cup is different. The World Cup is a series of points. So for every race that you enter and where you place, you get a point system at the end of the season. Whoever has the most points wins the overall World Cup title, which is, in my opinion, is a better judgment of who is the best driver or the best pilot, because you need to be able to perform on several different tracks in several races. So, for instance, a normal World Cup season has had 10 races. So you have to perform in 10 races, whereas the World Championship race is a single race. So anyone can actually get lucky on that day and win the World Championship.
Right.
They've also World Championship.
Now, Lonnie, one of the things that I know is near and dear to your heart is to see the para-bobsledding sport be included in the actual Paralympics, like the world stage, the Olympic movement. And it is currently not. And I would think if there was any sport that would qualify for the Winter Olympics, it would be bobsledding. Why has it not been included yet in the Paralympic Olympics?
For a new sport to be included into the Paralympics, there's certain criteria that needs to be met. One of those, several of those criteria are that you need a minimum of 12 nations competing from 3 regions around the world. And we actually have met that criteria now. Last year, for the World Cup season, we had 16 nations competing from 4 regions.
Okay.
So right now, we're actually in the process right now that the International Paralympic Committee is meeting, and we're going to have a vote of whether or not we are viable to be included in the next Paralympics. Actually, not the next Paralympics, because the next one is next year in Beijing, China. Mm-hmm. We were denied that a few years ago, so now the vote is actually for Italy in 2026. So we're really hopeful that that we'll get the inclusion this time around, because we've tried several times to get into the Paralympics. It's a difficult sport. Of course, it's exciting to watch, but it's a very expensive sport. So that's kind of where it, for us, it's holding us back in the sense, because it's really expensive for the Paralympics or even the Olympics to hold that race. It's not like curling that, they can use a curling rink all year long, or anybody can curl. There's very few people who actually use a bobsled track, but it's expensive.
Yeah, okay. Lonnie, let's assume for a minute that your sport does get included in the Paralympic Games in 2026. Do you use the same course that the bobsledders do in the first stage of the Olympics? Do the Paralympic riders use the same course?
Absolutely, yeah. We use the exact same courses around the world that the able-bodied people use. There's no difference. The only difference for us is because we can't run and jump into the bobsled like you would normally see with a 2-man or a 4-man or 2 women sled. We use a monobob, which is I'm the only person inside the sled. So because I can't run and jump in, we actually have an electric propulsion start.
Oh, I see.
Fair start. Everybody push, same start, and the sleds are all regulated to be exactly the same, which is also different in the able-bodied world. The able-bodied people, they can make their own sleds. They can have sponsors that build them, BMW sleds, whereas all of our sleds are exactly the same. We all have the same weight because we have a maximum weight limit, and if you're under that weight limit, you can add lead plates to the sled so that you're at your maximum. And the best part of it, of the whole thing, is that we actually race with women. We race against women. There is no men's division and women's division. We all race together equally. It's completely inclusive. And women are actually kicking our ass sometimes. It's great. I love it.
What a great description of maybe a sport of the not too distant future. Okay, so everybody has the same track, everybody has the same release, everybody has the same specs on their vehicles. How come you're winning so much? What makes you different than the ones that haven't been winning the World Championships?
Honestly, I think one of the big things is the pressure. There's a lot of, like, we have a ton of amazing, talented bobsled pilots on our tour. And when it comes down to race day, I seem to be able to focus and remain calm during that time. And of course, it comes down to the driving as well. You have to be a good driver. Not only do you have to be able to steer your way down, the trick is to not steer too much, because every time you steer too much, then you slow the bobsled down. So I have this tendency of, the coaches call it, I let it fly. I just let it fly, and I steer very, very little, and it looks wild, like a wild ride. When you watch it on video, that it happens to be.
Well, I had a feeling that it was something like that. I mean, some people say they do something with no fear. It doesn't matter whether it's baseball, whether it's skydiving, whether it's golf, whether it's whatever. And it seems those people that are crazy enough to do things without fear tend to be the ones that do okay. So I guess you've just got enough crazy left in you.
Just enough, yeah.
Hey, Lee, do you mind if I hop in here? Hey, Lonnie, it's just Kevin's voice here. A couple things is I'd really love to see your World Cup trophies. I don't know if you can get any of those. You got them handy? Oh, geez, yeah, there they are.
There's the table there. Those trophies are those globes are they're crystal, and they're about 14 inches tall. They weigh about 10 pounds.
Very cool. Can you swivel around and grab one and just hold it up to the camera a bit? I don't know if you can, and sorry.
I do. Yeah, give me a sec.
And while you're doing that, you can noodle on this one, Lonnie. Is there anything that you could compare bobsledding to? As you mentioned, not many people get to go down a bobsled track. I don't think I'll ever have that opportunity in my life, but I've always wondered what is it like?
Oh, I tell people that it's like going one minute with Mike Tyson. I was so shocked the first time I went down. The track is actually not smooth like a fresh Zamboni ice rink. It's more like a curling rink, which is very rough, but there's also bumps in it. So the whole time you're going down, it's bouncing you around, and that's if you're going perfectly straight and don't touch the walls. You don't make any mistakes. You make mistakes, then you bang into the walls. At 130 kilometers an hour, when you bang into a wall, it's not gentle, and so it's a rough ride.
Wow, sounds like it's being on like it's being in a spaceship to the moon or something like that.
Yeah, it's like really when you look at the video of the shuttle or what have you and taking off, and you can actually see that vibration. Yeah. That's what's going on with us. Yeah, and then going down, when we go on the walls, it's the G-forces that keep us up on the wall. So we'll actually be completely 90 degrees on the wall, but the G-forces, we're pulling 4 or 4.5 Gs, and that's what keeps us up there.
Damn.
How fast are you going?
Fastest track in the world is Whistler, and I have a track record there for Para at 130.
Damn.
130. Sorry, we dropped out there.
134 kilometers an hour.
134 kilometers an hour.
Now, every track is different in the world, so every track has a different top speed. Some tracks are slower, some are shorter. Yeah. They're the basic principle of it is, turns and elevation drop. It's all the same, but every track is laid out differently. So when you go to each track, you actually have to memorize that track and get it down. And that's the other part of it is you can't just drive down the track and drive as you go. You have to know the track 100% in your mind ahead of time, so you know what you're going to do one corner ahead of where you are, because you're going so fast that if you try to just turn and follow your way down the track, you end up on your head.
What's the next phase now? Are you going to be racing this winter, or is this COVID thing sort of messed up schedules and things?
Oh yeah, it's totally the COVID. The whole COVID thing has messed us up completely. We should have had 3 races already. They've all been canceled so far. The International Federation is working really hard to try to get us what they call a bubble race, where they'll put us in a certain area, and we'll just have multiple races in one in one location, which is exactly what they're doing for the Eagle-Body side of it.
Okay.
The Eagle-Body have had 4 races to Latvia, which is unheard of. They never do that. They have 1 race and go, 1 race and go for the next one. So.
Right. I know your son and your family is a huge part of your support network for this. Lonnie, how is tell us about how you guys do this as a team, because you can't do it by yourself, right?
Well, 100%. You know, it's going back probably 5 or 6 years ago when the World Cup sort of started. I had said to my son, you know, there's no way I can't do this anymore. I just can't afford it. And, you know, God bless him. He looked at me and he said, you have to go. Like, you cannot roll away from this sport right now. It's about to break out. You need to go. And I tried to explain to him that it was impossible. I didn't have the funds. And he went to the bank and remortgaged his house. And, he basically showed up with a credit card for me to use and said, there you go, you're going. And,
wow.
and you know, there was no arguments.
That's got to be that's got to be pretty special for your son to do that for you.
You know, it's supposed to be, as a parent, it's supposed to be me helping him out, but you know, he's in the position and he just wouldn't take no for an answer. He's like, you're going.
Well, Lonnie, thank you so much for representing Niagara so well, and being who you are and what you are. I know has taken you where you are, and I don't know too many people that would say, "Hey, I could do that," because I don't think we could. And boy, you are a shining example to somebody that turns lemons into lemonade, as they say. So.
I always tell people that, you know, I'm too stupid to quit. You know, a smart guy would have given up by now.
Well, thank God you're not any smarter than you are then, because it's a pleasure to meet you, and we're going to be tracking your progress. Pardon the pun. And I know this year's going to be probably in the tank for you. But as the vote comes up for the Paralympics in when did you say that vote was taking place again?
It's actually supposed to take place this week.
Really? All right.
Yeah, they're having their meeting this week. Whether or not they announce the decision immediately, we're not sure. So, okay. You know, everybody around the world, you know, we got sliders from Australia, South Africa, of course, all over Europe, Canada, U.S., you know, so we're all anxiously waiting for the decision.
Well, if you hear something, would you get in touch with us and let us know what's going on so that we can keep folks up to speed with what's happening?
Absolutely will. I appreciate that.
All right. Well, again, I can't express enough how impressive you are and how great it was to chat with you, and all of Niagara's proud of you. So good luck in. I'm pretty sure they're going to go your way, because it sounds like it only makes sense to have bobsledding in the Paralympics. So
that's what we've been saying for years. So hopefully we're right. Hopefully we're right this time.
Lonnie, have yourself a great night and a super weekend. Okay.
Thank you. You too. Thanks for having me on.
My pleasure. Thanks. Bye. Well, Kevin, I'm suitably impressed. You know, that you run across some people that really tend to make you feel like an underachiever at times.
Yeah, Lonnie'd be one of those guys.
And he is definitely one of those guys. Lonnie Bissonette, born, raised, lives in St. Catharines, 4-time world bobsled champion. And as Kevin said, in the not-too-distant future, we expect that he will find himself in the Canadian Sports Hall of Fame. And we also would not be surprised in the least to see him competing for the Canadian team in the Paralympics in 2026 as that single-man bobsled. And he'll just let her fly.
It's incredible. His story is incredible, Lee. Somebody scouts him and says, you got what it takes. You got what it takes upstairs because of your history base jumping. We need to put you on a bobsled track. I was getting goosebumps, Lee, thinking about, and I wanted to ask him this, but we just had him on for so long, what it felt like for him when he got to the end of his very first run. I know he said when he did it, it was like, I found my new home. But what was that feeling when you got to the end and thought to yourself, oh my God?
Well, for somebody like him, there had to be an adrenaline rush so powerful that it was almost drug-like.
Yeah, I would think so.
When athletes perform at a level like that, and he would have obviously been in good condition before he did that. He wouldn't have done it. So he's obviously physically fit, but when that's what long distance runners often say is that if they don't do their run today, if they don't get their 5 miles in or their 10 miles in or whatever it is, they feel like they're going through withdrawal. That rush is not there. They need that to feel like they're alive, and I'm sure it must be something very, very similar to that for extreme sport style athletes in particular, because they keep pushing themselves, as he mentioned with his 1100th jump, wanted to do something special. And so often that's what happens with these extreme athletes is they want to go one step further. They want to keep that feeling alive that got them interested in it in the first place. And after a couple of thousand parachute jumps, well, let's do this base thing, because that sounds a little riskier. So, and there's always that one more envelope to push for these guys.
Really an incredible guy, and just a guy about town.
Yeah, such a nice fellow, down to earth guy, and just.
When was the last time you met anybody that's a 4-time world champion at anything?
At anything, me never.
There he is, right there. He's in St. Catharines, and he doesn't get any love from the city. He really doesn't.
Well, hopefully this stint tonight on the 411 will help broaden his appeal. I hope so.
Lee,
I hope so.
Playing us out tonight, we're going to get Breaking Still in here. They're a Niagara band, and their song...
I'm sorry, I missed the last word.
Breaking Still.
Breaking Still, okay.
And the song is No Place. It looks like it was recorded at Jukasa Studio out in Caledonia. Their video was, so we'll get to that. But before we wrap up the show, and I'm kind of pointing you in this direction, I know you wanted to talk about the $1 million heist that was found. The heist, I guess. The $1 million treasure that was found.
Yeah, if you remember, years ago, a fellow by the name of Forrest Fenn planted or hid $1 million plus treasure somewhere in the wilds of Wyoming. This was like over a decade ago. Jonathan Jack Stuth, 32, found the treasure in June. Grandson of Forrest Fenn, Shiloh Forrest, posted on Monday on a website, said, "We wish Jack," that's the guy that found the treasure, "the best of luck, and we hope that the searching community will treat him with the respect that he deserves." And people have been hunting for, treasure hunters have been doing this for years. Now, Fenn, the older fellow who was also a decorated U.S. Air Force fighter pilot during the Vietnam War, left clues to finding this treasure in a poem, in a memoir entitled The Thrill of the Chase. At the time, he said he hid the chest filled with coins, gold nuggets, and other valuables estimated at value at $1 million to $3 million, somewhere in that range, in the Rocky Mountains north of Santa Fe, in either Colorado, Montana, New Mexico, or Wyoming. All right, so, and said, here are all the clues you need in the poem. So people have been hunting for this treasure for over a decade with nothing but this poem for clues. And they'd almost, I saw a broadcast about this, maybe it was a 60 Minutes thing or something like this a couple of years ago, and people were almost at the point of saying he never did it, it was a hoax. Well, it obviously wasn't a hoax. He did do it. It was found, and it was found by that guy. And of course, anytime that happens, the sore losers come out of the woodwork. There are people saying, "Oh, he stole my notes and he took my clues and he da 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 da." And well, too bad, sucks to be you. You lose.
I'd heard that story for years, Lee, and I honestly always thought it was fake.
Yep.
Because nobody had found it. Nobody had found it.
Yeah. A lot of people did. Came across it today, the fact that, and it was found back in June. I don't know why it didn't become a bigger story when it happened.
You know what? That guy that found it here, he wanted to remain anonymous.
Oh, okay.
And since he found it and the word came out that he found it, some of the naysayers and some of the other people that were searching for it ended up filing lawsuits against Fenian Fen and this guy, the Jack guy, as well. So eventually, because of the legalities, he had to make his name known and kind of own it.
The only thing now that would make my life complete as far as those kinds of mysteries are concerned is finding D.B. Cooper and the money that he jumped out of the plane with. That's the mystery I want to have. So, where's D.B.? Anyway, that's a great story. Thanks for reminding me of that one. I wanted to do that one all day. So before we we play you off the stage, so to speak, I want to take one more chance to do a few things. First of all, thank our partners on this, Gales Gas Bars Limited, for fueling this program, helping us do what we do every week. Also, WeeStreem Niagara, Kevin Jack, Brandon Schramm, and their wonderful technology that helps us do what we do. Nick at Niagara 411, thanks for helping support us, support you, and all of your contributors. Thank you to all of you for helping provide some content leads for this show as well. Fiddler's Poorhouse, Dave Mukparian and his wonderful staff around here, and his sometimes rowdy customers socially distancing as they are. Great to have them part of the show as well. Downtown St. Catharines, there you are. Thanks for kind of supporting us as well. And all of Niagara for being here. Don't forget, Live with Santa, right here, live streaming this Sunday, the 13th, from 9 o'clock in the morning to 11 o'clock in the morning. Click in either on Livestream Niagara, Niagara 411, or WeeStream, all streaming live with Santa, 9 to 11 Sunday morning. All right? I'm Lee Sterry. Happy to have you tuning in. Thank you for your attention and your support. We'll see you next week on the 17th. And now we're going to just play you out while you enjoy this beautiful evening here on St. Paul Street in St. Catharines. Have yourselves a fabulous weekend. Cheers.
Don't know where it all went so wrong. I don't know where to begin. Why would you start accusing me of things that I never did? And I hate to see this crumble and fall apart. I need to believe in me. Let's go back to the start, 'cause there's no place I'd rather be. I'm holding on to the truth. There's no place I'd rather be than here with you. Almost ready to pack a bag, got one foot out the door. Why do you have to be so insecure? It's hard